the most dramatic downfalls of history's greatest leaders throughout history. Powerful rulers and influential leaders have risen to glory, only to meet shocking, brutal, or ironic ends. Some were betrayed by those closest to them, others were overthrown by furious mobs, and a few even took their own lives to avoid humiliation. These dramatic downfalls serve as cautionary tales about the fragility of power and the consequences of tyranny, ambition, or sheer bad luck. In this essay, we will explore the top 10 most dramatic endings of history's most famous and infamous leaders. From ancient emperors to modern dictators, their stories reveal the dark side of power and the inevitable reckoning that often follows. Now, before we move on with the story, please help a small channel grow. Like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Okay, back to the story. 10. Benito Mussolini. The humiliating end of a fascist dictator. Benito Mussolini, Italy's fascist dictator and Hitler's key ally during World War II, ruled with an iron fist for over 2 decades. But by 1945, his regime crumbled as Allied forces advanced and Italian resistance fighters turned against him. The downfall. In April 1945, Mussolini attempted to flee to Switzerland disguised as a German soldier. However, communist partisans captured him and his mistress, Clara Petacci. After a brief mock trial, they were executed by firing squad. The ultimate humiliation, their bodies were transported to Milan's Piazzale Loreto, where they were hung upside down from a gas station and beaten by an angry crowd. This public display was revenge for Mussolini's brutal rule, and a stark warning to future tyrants. Why it was dramatic. Few leaders have suffered such a post-mortem disgrace. Mussolini's fate symbolized the complete collapse of his regime and the violent rejection of fascism in Italy. 9. Marie Antoinette, the guillotine's most famous victim. Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France before the French Revolution, lived in extreme luxury while the people starved. Her infamous quote, "Let them eat cake," likely never actually said, made her a symbol of aristocratic excess. The downfall. After the revolutionaries stormed the Bastille in 1789, the monarchy was doomed. Marie Antoinette and King Louis XVI were imprisoned, put on trial, and sentenced to death. Execution and last words. On October 16, 1793, she was guillotined in Paris. Legend claims her last words were an apology to her executioner after stepping on his foot. "Pardon me, sir, I meant not to do it." Why it was dramatic. Her death marked the end of an era, the fall of absolute monarchy in France and the rise of revolutionary justice. 8. Julius Caesar, stabbed by his own friends. Julius Caesar, the legendary Roman general and dictator, transformed Rome from a republic into an empire, but his ambition made him enemies. The downfall. On the Ides of March 15, 44 BCE, Caesar was stabbed 23 times in the Senate by a group of senators, including his trusted ally Brutus. Last words and legacy. His alleged last words, "Et tu, Brute? You too, Brutus?" became a symbol of ultimate betrayal. His death sparked a civil war and led to the rise of Rome's first emperor, Augustus. Why it was dramatic. Few betrayals in history are as iconic as Caesar's assassination. It remains a timeless lesson about power and treachery. 7. Adolf Hitler, suicide in the bunker. Adolf Hitler, the Nazi dictator responsible for World War II and the Holocaust, ruled Germany with terror, but his empire collapsed in 1945. The downfall. As Soviet troops closed in on Berlin, Hitler hid in his Führer bunker. On April 30, 1945, he married Eva Braun and then shot himself. She took cyanide. Their bodies were burned to prevent capture. Why it was dramatic. His suicide denied the world a trial, leaving his legacy as one of history's greatest villains. 6. Maximilien Robespierre, the guillotine's architect meets his fate. Robespierre, a key figure in the French Revolution, sent thousands to the guillotine during the Reign of Terror, until he became a victim himself. The downfall. In July 1794, his rivals turned on him. He was shot in the jaw, possibly a suicide attempt, arrested, and guillotined without trial the next day. Wyatt was dramatic. The man who championed virtue and terror died the same way as his victims, a perfect example of revolutionary justice. 5. Cleopatra, the serpent's kiss. Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, famously seduced Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, but when Rome turned against her, she chose death over surrender. The downfall. After Octavian, future Emperor Augustus, defeated her forces, her lover Mark Antony stabbed himself in grief. Rather than be paraded as a Roman trophy, Cleopatra let an asp, venomous snake, bite her. Wyatt was dramatic. Her suicide sealed her legend as history's most dramatic queen. 4. Muammar Gaddafi, dragged from a drainpipe. Libyan dictator Gaddafi ruled for 42 years before the Arab Spring uprising toppled him in 2011. The downfall. Rebels found him hiding in a sewer pipe, dragged him out, beat him, sodomized him with a bayonet, and shot him. His body was displayed in a meat locker. Wyatt was dramatic. His brutal end was captured on video, showing the raw fury of a people oppressed for decades. 3. Rasputin, the man who wouldn't die. Rasputin, the mystic who influenced Russia's last Tsar, was so hated that nobles tried multiple times to kill him. The downfall. He was poisoned, shot 4 times, beaten, and drowned in a frozen river in 1916. Wyatt was dramatic. His unbelievable survival, until the end, made his death a legend. 2. Napoleon, from emperor to exile. Napoleon Bonaparte conquered Europe, but his ambition led to 2 exiles. The downfall. Defeated at Waterloo, 1815, he was exiled to St. Helena, where he died in 1821, possibly poisoned. Wyatt was dramatic. The greatest general of his age died alone on a remote island. 1. Nero, the artist who destroyed Rome. Nero, Rome's infamous emperor, allegedly fiddled while Rome burned in 64 CE. His cruelty led to rebellion. The downfall. Declared a public enemy, he fled and stabbed himself, crying, "What an artist dies in me." Wyatt was dramatic. His last words perfectly captured his delusion and vanity. Conclusion. Power's fragility. These leaders' downfalls prove that no ruler is invincible. Whether by betrayal, revolution, or their own hand, their dramatic ends remind us that power is fleeting, and history is unforgiving. Thank you for watching my video. Please, like and subscribe. Would you add any other leaders to this list? Let me know in the comments.